Hey guys, so I am on my Smurf. I was testing out some of these builds. I mean, my Smurf's getting to the point where it's pretty much just getting high rank again, so it doesn't not really a Smurf anymore. Um, I'm essentially diamond and or mid, low to mid diamond, and so it's getting there. But I wanted to talk a little bit about this particular build. I've been talking about and in fact, before this patch, even I was talking about how good this talent is right here. This divine protection talent. You increase the devotion's armor to 50 and its duration by zero point 0.5 seconds. This talent to me is incredibly powerful to the point that if you can keep devotion on everyone, this is a huge amount of armor and survivability that most other healers just cannot give. So, where Uther's healing numbers are generally lower than most other healers, one of the benefits that he has is that he reduces the damage that your team takes by 25% for the most portion of the game, and then 50% near the end. Well, a lot of fights in post level 20 are determined in about the first 3 seconds of the fight. So being able to mitigate half the damage dealt in that first 3 seconds really increases the odds that in your first 3 seconds you're going to get a kill. So I'm going to talk about how, well, you really shouldn't be drafting for level 20. You can kind of get the pseudo level 20 talent at level 7 with Guardian of Ancient Kings, where, yes, I think Cleanse in a lot of situations is better, but I think that this can give you that option a little bit earlier of almost taking a level 20 talent before you're level 20. So I want to show this build, and I want to talk about what I like about it, what I don't like about it, when it's good, when it's not good, but ultimately, what I want to do here is convince you that Uther can be a main healer, but you probably won't want to pick him too early since he still struggles in the same areas that he struggled before. He has long cooldowns of his heals, and he has mana problems. So even doing the best thing that you possibly can, you're still probably going to struggle quite a bit with mana. And you're going to notice this game, I do struggle with mana. But I do want to talk about this build, what it does well, what it doesn't do well, and when you should use it. With that being said, level 1, I take Wave of Light. Now, I want to talk a little bit about what changed in the patch. They made it to where instead of this reducing the cooldown by 1 second, it's by 0.75 seconds, but flat, they reduced the cooldown of Holy Radiance by 10 seconds, and they increased its healing by a decent amount. It went from like 160 to 190, which is a pretty decent increase for healing. The reason I still take Wave of Light is because it's going to increase the duration of devotion when you finish the quest, which is going to increase the duration that people have that 50 armor at level 20, or that 50 armor at level 7, assuming that you're using a heal on a CC target. Then it's also just has a natural passive to give you a little bit of mana back and lower the cooldown of your W, which is just really nice. Level 4, you could definitely take a wide variety of talents here. I think any of them really work. I generally take Holy Fire just because it allows me to just have a little bit more potential during team fights, especially if the team fight starts getting a little chaotic, like we take out the enemy healer, take out the enemy poke. This allows me to just kind of slowly melt down the enemy tank, or just kind of do a little bit of work on some of the extra things. It's also a little bit of wave clear, but not very much. Not enough to be able to double soak or anything, but it could definitely speed up your own wave clear. So these are the situations that I really like Holy Fire in. It's just these chaotic situations early in the game where you can certainly add just a little bit of extra damage. Just on their tank alone, I've already added about an extra 100 damage. And so it's kind of nice to have that. But Pursuit of Justice is perfectly fine. Giving yourself some movement speed after a stun gives you a little bit more options. And then also Holy Shock is fine, where you can shock an enemy, and it's a great way to finish them off. In fact, I primarily run Holy Shock because when I stun someone, throw a W and a Q, it increases the chance that I'll get that kill. So this is definitely a talent tier that you can pick whatever feels right and go from there. I'm going to talk a little bit about the playstyle in the early game. It's a lot of just trying to get the armor values out while doing light heals when people are getting focused. You can see that we're down on kills right now. We've won the first objective. We're also down on experience because they have a lost Vikings, so these team fights will get a little tricky just because they're going to have some leads. But generally, what you're going to be wanting to do is you want to follow up whatever your team's CC is with a Hammer of Justice, and then you also want to be throwing out Holy Radiance back towards your team. So you usually follow your team forward, and then you throw Holy Radiance to the back of your team. That's going to keep your team alive through any amount of dive, and you're also going to set up to usually getting one kill very quickly with Hammer of Justice. Then as far as the tank that's near you, you can simply hit him with Holy Light, and then that gives everyone on your team enough armor to last until your next Holy Radiance. You usually get one more heal off, and that's about when the fight is over. So keep that in mind, that that's generally about how long a fight's going to last with Uther, is about 7 to 8 seconds. And if you don't win at that point, you're going to have a really rough time. But generally, if your team's paying any attention, you're going to have a really good shot. So I do start off right here. I throw a W out, really low cooldown because I hit quite a few targets, giving my team armor and also doing a little bit of extra damage. I throw another W out to give armor to my team and also reach the tank that we have. And then I'm saving my Q just so that I can throw a Q. I end up not hitting the Varian, but I end up getting him with that. I then stun because she's getting a little low on mana, and I'm stepping up. Now, there are times on Uther where I will die so I can get more single target healing. And this is something that you really need to gauge. If all you need is a little bit more healing to close out a fight, then dying actually could be the answer. Right here, if I die, I can keep these 3 people topped off or this one topped off long enough for them to kill these 4 people. So dying here actually could be a really good thing. You get a lower cooldown heal, and you can heal without any mana problems. But staying alive can also be beneficial too, because you can get extra Holy Radiance that will be very beneficial. You can get another stun, you can get another Holy Light. There's a lot of things that you can do as well by staying alive. So in this case, I end up deciding to stay alive to just get another W off. And that W once again gives enough armor to save my team throughout that fight. And then my stun allows me to finish up Kira before she can kill us. One more W is all it takes to keep my team topped off. And by top, not really topped off, just to where I'm not worried about them, and we're able to take the second objective. You're going to notice I back a lot in this game, so that's something that you're going to also have to do if you're playing this, because you do take a lot of damage. This is also a little bit better to draft if the enemies don't have a lot of poke, or if your team has a lot of self-healing. So in this case, if you see my team, Thrall has self-healing, Varian has self-healing, then depending on what Chromie takes at 13, she might have a little bit of self-healing. Right here, again, I use W as well as I use Holy Fury or Holy Fire, and it allows me to clean this up. Again, it's not great wave clear, but it's enough to where we don't take any unnecessary damage, which is kind of nice. So all in all, it's perfectly fine. I try to get in range to throw a Q out, but I don't quite get there in time. The next objective would be beneficial, but the enemies are going to hit 10s before us, so unless we get a bunch of kills here, we're going to really struggle. So I wait until the route's almost over before I throw out my stun, and then I throw out my stun. I try to body block to the best of my ability while also getting the burn damage off from the Holy Fire. And you're going to notice that my quest is getting close to being completed, so this is about that time. And I try to tank all of these so that it's easier for us to clear them up if we need to. But in this case, we end up just getting that channel, which is really nice. Now, this build can work in all ranks. It's more of team comps than when this build's good or not. Against poke is going to be the really difficult part about this build. So that's definitely where you're going to need to watch before you draft it. And it's going to be a healer that you're probably going to want to draft later in games. Similarly to bringing out like a Butcher late into the draft or Sergeant Hammer late into the draft. That's really how you're going to want to be approaching it, is you want to pick it later in the draft where it's harder to counter, because it is a very strong healer, but it's very hard to get. I love that. So I'll talk a little bit more about the rest of my build. I take Guardian of Ancient Kings because unless there's something really important that I need to cleanse, I would rather give 50 armor to someone than cleanse them in many cases, because that 50 armor is going to last for 2.5 seconds, or the cleanse is only going to last for a second. So if they can't kill them through the CC because of the 50 armor, then they're going to be more valuable after the CC, where the burst, and especially in uncoordinated, a cleanse doesn't always mean that they're going to get away. It just means that they're cleansed now. And so I've been running this Guardian of Ancient Kings instead. And this talent used to be overpowered. Now I think it's balanced, because they dropped it from 75 to 50, and I really like it. Now, I don't think this is the best team into it, because these stuns and stuff don't last very long, but it does count silence. So if they use polymorph, I could then just throw a quick heal, and suddenly they have 50 armor. This works really well against stuns that are a little bit more obvious, or roots that are a little bit more obvious. I love it into Zool, where he does that root, and then right as they get rooted, you just throw 50 armor onto it. Everyone throws their abilities, but it's not enough damage to kill them, because what happens with 50 armor is you double the health of whoever you're healing. And so most people, most uncoordinated teams don't have enough burst to kill someone with double their health. And it's a little bit more than double the health because you're also healing them during that time. So it's a little bit more than double their health because you get to throw one heal to apply the 50 armor, and then you get to throw another heal. So you get to literally double their current health as well as double the healing that you're doing during that time too, which makes it incredibly impactful. And then finally, level 10, I like Divine Storm because the whole purpose of this Uther build is to prevent enemy damage, which means if someone goes in, I'm going to stun them. And then if someone's trying to leave, I'm going to stun them again. So I'm going to be constantly stunning people and not giving them a chance to get much damage off. And that's what you're going to notice from the majority of this game, is they just don't really get a lot of time to get damage off. When they go in, they'll just get stunned, and then my whole team will have armor when they try to commit even further, and that gives my team a lot of time to get damage off. So I recommend following the same rules, though. Is I try to follow up my team stuns, or I try to stun people that my team's attacking so that they get more time to attack it. In that case, that's what I did with that ult, was I gave my team more time to get value off of that. Now, this portion of the game, I don't recommend doing anything too crazy here. Level 13 is when you finally get a lot of extra healing for your team, and I'm pretty sure that's the level 13 talent I'm going to continue recommending for everyone, and I'll talk more about it when we get there. But the Blessed Champion, you can heal an ally, or if you have Holy Shock, you can shock an enemy, or you can heal yourself, and then every auto attack is going to heal for a portion of your Q. So right here is an awkward fight where I recommended we do this camp. Probably a misplay on my part. I saw someone dead, and I saw the enemies were distracted, so I was like, I think this is a good call. And then I also like Holy Fire and everything. I figured this would be really good, but I'm out of mana, and I've already used my heals. So this is the time where you purposely die to get extra healing for your team. So right here, I want to get one good W, and that W gave armor to him. And also, just hit a couple extra people. Also gave armor here. And once I give that, I want to die. And once I've died, I can't get to this person, so I probably shouldn't even try. I should head back over here and see if I could top off someone else. So in this case, I'm topping off Chromie. And now once Chromie's able to walk away, healing this Varian is going to be the most important thing because he's on a camp. So I start healing the Varian. And then Thrall shows up, which is perfect. I was able to get Varian to stay alive just long enough, and we're able to take that game. So this is where, again, Uther's really great because you can use your death to benefit your team, and it's really powerful. And you got to remember, it's also going to be giving a lot of armor as well. So once you get Blessed Champions, finally, when you can keep people topped off, and there's also a strategy that a lot of people don't really abuse with Blessed Champion. You get to heal everyone on your team quite a bit when you're auto-attacking something. This talent is amazing for sieging enemy structures and also for going for camps, because you're going to heal yourself enough to where you can actually tank towers for your team and out-heal the damage that the towers do, and it's really, really effective. Now, in this case, I should have moved earlier for the first one because I got interrupted a few times, and I canceled my own because I saw Joanna walking by. Yeah, I ended up just grabbing it, and then I go to join my team. But at this point, my team got pretty lucky here because they spent so many abilities trying to interrupt that it was perfectly fine for us to just walk up. I healed them back up, and then we just step forward. Now, right here is something where if I was playing with people that I play with a lot, this is where I would simply just call out that I'll tank this. I'll heal everyone, and then I'll use Holy Light to get myself topped back off. When I'm playing with randoms, I like to wait a little bit and see if they would be willing to go for it. And if they are willing to go for it, I'll just ping it. So you can see once Kalazad pinged it, I was like, actually, yeah, that's a good call. So I have my heal. and watch what happens to everyone's health bars. I heal the Varian, and look, they're all getting these huge heals. We're all to full health. After just fighting and winning that objective point, I'm able to heal everyone to full. Now, unfortunately, Chromie ends up getting aggro, and I was tempted to heal her back up, but I'm not attacking anything else anymore. So I personally believe that this talent is necessary. It adds a lot more healing during team fights, and it also gives you a ton of siege potential as well as objective fight potential. So I really think that this talent is necessary, where I think the level 4 talents are definitely situational. I think level 7, you could go with either or. You need to be very sure that you need to go with Cleanse, though. And then finally, level 16, I love Benediction. Not only can you get the double stun, which turns into a triple stun with Divine Storm, but you can use it simply just to apply armor to everyone more often, because now that they've lowered Holy Radiance down to a 10-second cooldown, Benediction shaves off 10 seconds of the cooldown, which means that you can throw 2 Ws out. Well, I generally throw the 1 W out, and then I will wait so that the armor gets a lot of value, and I'll throw the 2nd W out. But you'll see that I use Benediction quite a lot on my Holy Radiance instead of the Hammer of Justice, where I think the higher rank you get, the more you're going to want to use it for that. So right there, I start off with just an ult and then a stun. The wall was actually really good by Tassadar. But we see the Thrall's already in a really good position. I give everyone, I throw a Q, and I'm just healing us back up to full again. Now, I do want to try to save this Thrall, though, so one thing that you're going to notice is in this situation, I pop Benediction so that I can throw a heal out to Thrall, giving him armor and reducing the health of that other hero, and then I'm also going to head back over here, and I'm going to throw the 2nd W over here so that I can heal 2 different people and apply armor at 2 different sides. And it's very inefficient for the mana as well, so... Now right here, I just use my Q, get 1 auto attack, but that's all that I really had for time for that. But I can always heal my team back up if we decide to push a little further forward. So I heal, and then I auto attack, and I'm healing everyone up each auto attack. And I throw out my W. She misses that, unfortunately, so she's going to get taken out. And it's just so much CC and so much healing. I mean, as far as the healing numbers, it's still not that great, especially in the early game. Once you actually get Blessed Champion, I actually tend to keep up with most other healers. It's just before you have Blessed Champion, you don't really keep up with any other healers. Level 16, you dominate as far as how much CC that you bring, and then level 20 Divine Protection just makes your team essentially unkillable. I find myself generally struggling in the early to mid game. Early game, I tend to struggle a lot. Mid game, I tend to break even, and late game, I absolutely dominate on this build. So it's like... That's kind of how I would expect everyone to see it as well. But that's pretty great in Storm League because games often make it to mid to late game. So to have something that plays out like that seems like a really good idea. In this case, we just kind of walk forward. I can out-heal a lot of what goes on here. So again, this time, do you see how I'm applying 50 armor because of the polymorphs? So that 50 armor is huge. And... you're not going to be able to deal with that, and so that's just something that's really good. Every time, again, I'm applying 50 armor, look how little damage he takes from just about everything that Joanna tried to throw at him. I mean, his health barely moved. Now, of course, it's a Joanna that's attacking him, but still, even a Joanna can do small chunks of people's health, and to have it do almost nothing because there's just 50 armor. Now, remember, this is before level 20. This 50 armor is purely from Guardian of the Ancient Kings. That's why I feel this talent's worth it, even if you're going to be going Divine Protection, because it just gets you to this. You essentially get a build because of this, but it's going to give you the potential of having that build have value before you get there. So that's what's really cool about it. So I use Benediction to throw out 1 heal, and I let the armor stay on them for a while, and then I throw out a 2nd heal. I go for a stun, I go for another stun, and we get a nice kill there. We will probably end up losing the Kel'Thuzad. I'm going to do my best to get a burst heal on him, and then I can auto attack or whatever to try to keep him up. Now, in this case, this is where a lot of teams would probably be like, okay, we're a little low, especially Uther teams. They're like, okay, we're a little low, maybe we don't engage here. But I'm like, nope, let's go close out the game. I'm going to keep everyone topped off with my Q. And that's exactly what we do. We push forward, and I just go straight onto the core, and I use my auto attacks to heal everyone up. And you can see, so Chromie was at almost no health, And same thing. I mean, the Kel'Thuzad was almost at no health, and just a Q on to Kel'Thuzad, couple auto attacks. My team's at full health, and for the majority of that early portion, I was tanking the core, and I was out healing all of the core damage. So this is the power of this build. And then I end up taking the Divine Protection at the end, but so I just really wanted to share this build with you guys because I think that Uther Main Healer is very strong right now. I just think that he has counterplay. Poke really hurts. Engaging in and out of a fight also really hurts because he can't top people off. So when you're on a map where the fights are forced, the fights are like short and they happen really quick, that Uther's going to be amazing. Sky Temple, he's going to be amazing. Even like Infernal Shrines, he should be really good because the fights are just fast. Where he's going to struggle is maps where it's in and out and there's a lot of poke to interrupt. Even like Volskaya's, Braxis, Dragonshire's, he's probably going to struggle. But on the other maps where you can force these fights and get in quick, get the armor, which is going to prevent this burst, he's going to be great for those builds. So I highly recommend it. Try this build out. See if you guys like it. Again, level 4 is definitely situational. Level 7 is between the cleanse. Like if they've got like a Chromie that's going to be doing like this temporal loop, then yeah, certainly you're going to want to cleanse because the armor is not going to help with that. Or if there's a hook that you want to get rid of, then sure, they're throwing out a hook, you cleanse it before the hook goes off. Like things like that, it's definitely going to be more important to have cleanse. But roots or silences, I would say that Guardian Raging Kings is really, really valuable, especially against people like Deckard, where he's going to root like your whole team. You just give your whole team 50 armor. Like, that's insane. So, highly recommend trying this build out. But remember, it's still Uther. He still has mana problems, and he still has high cooldowns on his heals. So, learn the limitations. If you're playing against this build, play against the limitations. But it's a really fun build. I've been kind of dominating with it in Storm League, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. So definitely try it out. If you guys have any questions about it, feel free to toss it down below. Also, feel free to check out any of my other videos.